How's it going, people? My name is Nick Jojo, and here's a little background about myself. I started playing League a few months into the start of Season 2, back when Ash Mid was a thing. By the end of Season 2, I managed to climb to Silver, and over the next year, I skyrocketed to Diamond, and I've been hovering around Diamond 3, Diamond 4 ever since. Now, to the main topic. If you're watching this guide, I firstly have to assume that you're willing to make a few sacrifices in order to get to Diamond. Now, I'm not asking you to completely change your approach to League. All I ask is that you try incorporating these 3 rules when you want to play to win. And before we continue, I just want to make this clear. You'll need to make use of all 3 rules instead of picking out rule 1 and 2 and just following those. You can't do that. These rules were designed to be followed as a trio. So, rule number 1 of 3. Pick 3 to 4 champions and only play those champions. Rule number 1 is possibly the best piece of advice any high-ranked player would give you. You see, the biggest mistake I see lower-ranked players making is that they play the game inconsistently. They play a wide range of champions, with the champions themselves of varying skill levels. This is bad. Why? Because they will put more effort on improving on the champion when they should be focusing on improving on their game knowledge. However, when you focus on my rule of consistently playing a few champions, over time, you will notice yourself focusing on improving your game knowledge rather than focusing on improving your champion skill levels. As a side tip, have at the very least level 4 mastery before you try out a champion in solo queue. So, to summarize the first rule, play a few champions and get good at those champions. This leads me to my second rule. But before I tell you my second rule, I want you to understand the following. There are 2 elements in League of Legends that determine how good you are at this game. 2 elements. The first of the elements is champion skill. Champion skill is how well you understand and play your specific champion. The second element is game knowledge. Game knowledge is how well you understand the game itself, and how well you understand the meta, how well you understand the significance of objectives, etc. Now here's the deal. Every single champion in League of Legends has a skill floor and a skill ceiling. But to keep this video straight to the point as possible, let's go to my next rule, which is rule number 2. Pick champions that have high skill floors. Or in other words, pick champions that are hard to screw up. Hard to screw up champions are champions whose kits aren't mechanically complicated and that allow you to focus on the flow of gameplay rather than the champion's mechanics. Examples of such champions would be champions like Ahri and Malzahar in the mid lane, or Amumu and Udyr in the jungle. A bad example, or an example of a low skill floor champion, would be a champion like Lee Sin in the jungle. So, if you play Lee Sin and you're silver, yet you desperately want to climb to a high rating, put Lee Sin aside for now. Leave him aside for your unranked and normal games. As I mentioned at the start of this video, you're gonna have to make a few sacrifices if you want to climb. Now, to connect the 2 rules. With rule number 1, you allowed yourself to focus on game knowledge by playing and mastering a few champions. Rule number 2 will reinforce this focus on game knowledge, because it will be faster to master a hard to screw up champion. You're probably noticing that I'm putting a lot of emphasis on game knowledge. And if you may have guessed it, my third and final rule of the 3 rules to Diamond is as follows. Focus on objectives. This may seem like a no-brainer, but do you actually remember how to obtain victory in League of Legends? No, it isn't getting a pentakill, and no, it isn't going legendary. If you may have forgotten, you win a game of League of Legends by destroying the enemy nexus. The funniest part is, people tend to forget about this. Every choice you make in-game should be towards destroying the enemy nexus in the fastest and easiest way possible. Take objectives that do just that. Take down turrets because turrets help you get closer to the damn nexus. Take second dragon when it's free because second drag gives an insane buff to your tower pushing skills. Take objectives when they're open to take. Game knowledge is knowing when to take an objective. Knowing that instead of all 5 going Clown Fiesta mid lane, take the free dragon, take the side towers, take the baron, then group up when you believe you have a distinct advantage in your team fighting ability over the enemy team. As much as I'd love to answer your, but Nick Jojo, you haven't told me a single thing about when exactly I should be taking X objective. You're right, I haven't. Why? Because the ability to know when to do what is what defines League of Legends as a competitive esport. The fact that there are so many variables involved in the outcome of a game. You see, if I knew exactly when and what I should be doing, I would be the best analyst in League of Legends. But the point I'm trying to put across to you is that game knowledge takes time to develop. As much as you can learn from the countless videos explaining how and when to ward, how and when to gank, and I'm not saying you shouldn't listen to those videos, it is only going to take you so far until you apply yourself by practicing and analyzing your successes and failures within your own personal ranked play. Game knowledge is an entire topic on its own. However, if there is one thing I want you to remember for rule number 3, it is taking objectives, as DJ Khaled puts it, is major key.
You're very smart.
So, to summarize this video, the 3 rules you must follow in order to reach Diamond are as follows. Rule number 1, pick a few champions and play only those champions. Rule number 2, pick high skill floor, or, in other words, easy to play champions. Rule number 3, focus on objectives. Take these rules into your ranked play and incorporate them into your League of Legends mentality, and with enough sacrifice, you will make it into Diamond. Thanks for being a part of my first High 2 guide. And before we end, I want to ask you guys the following question. What rules do you personally follow when you try to climb the rank ladder? Leave your answer in the comments section below and I will try my best to reply back to you. If you found this video useful, check out my other videos, and if you like this video, remember to leave a like and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching and have a good one.
Criticise.